How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Giraffor Egg, and today we're going to be taking a look at and explaining the most recently leaked Pokemon for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, these were actually leaked in the most recent trailer where they kind of messed up and kept this information in there by accident. So if you guys are ready for this, then drop a like down below and let's get started. So, I should probably start first with all the Pokemon that were leaked and all the Pokemon that were revealed. Now, the first image here that you will see on the screen is specifically an image of the 4 Pokemon, or 3 Pokemon specifically, that we saw leaked in the mini-map. Here we get to see a Parakeet, which is a parrot, a mouse Pokemon, and a rock salt Pokemon. Those are 3 Pokemon that we already knew were going to be coming in these games. We already knew they were more or less confirmed thanks to, the leaks from the Riddler Coup and Kaka. These are leakers that have given us information correctly in the past, and they were also right about these. And guess what? We already know a bunch of information about these Pokemon, so we're going to be breaking those down. But those are not the only Pokemon that were accidentally leaked. If you look at the trailer, during this section where you can see that there is a camera being pointed towards the back of the character, in the background there looks to be some sort of bug Pokemon. Now we don't know exactly what that is, you can't really discern exactly what you're looking at, but it seems to be a brand new Pokemon nonetheless. Then we also of course have the Pokemon we already knew existed and we already seen a few times, which is the engine Pokemon. But here we get to see one of the wheel sides of it, right, where the wheel would be. And as you guys can see right there, it seems to have one eye, and we have a few art interpretations from different artists that will kind of give you an idea what this looks like. But also, there is what seems to be the pre-evolution of Armorogue. Now, Armorogue is a new Pokemon that was recently revealed, and this seems to be its pre-evolution, like the, early baby stage Pokemon version of it. And then, of course, we have the final one, which is the officially revealed one, which is the new Giraffor Egg evolution, Giraffe, or whatever it's called, but that's the last one. However, the ones before this are the ones we know the least amount, so Giraffe, we'll talk about that last. Now, let's get started about the information about all of these, what they're based on, and what the deal is with them, so let's do that. With the Parakeet, which is the little parrot, and he talks about it in the following here, which is Ateri. Ateri talks about this on Twitter and says, let's talk about the parakeet. We've seen images of it now, and it seems to be based on the monk parakeet, an invasive species in Spain that was pretty popular in the past. You can see the color is similar and it has the same features. It is also known for its huge nests that are dangerous for walking civilians. It also might have a bit of a common parakeet vibe to it, which is really loved in Spain. And the rose-ringed parakeets, also invasive, all of them are popular in Spain. About the black hat or hair it has, I can say that perico, a word that is used for periquito, two in Spanish, which is parakeet, was also a way to call a wig or a headdress that was used only for the hair as decoration in the 18th century of Spain. So that's what we know about the little parakeet. But we do also know one more thing, which comes to us from, of course, the leakers. And you guys can check this out, this information, on Makio.it. Makio.it is a website by Makio and J Roses where they list all the information about all the leaked Pokemon, all that kind of information, everything that you might want to know is listed right here. And they list that the Parakeet Pokemon is going to be a normal flying type and that it's a single stage, so it doesn't have any evolutions as far as we know. So that's pretty much that. We don't really know much else about it. That's pretty much the only information we know about it. And there's not really much to say about it. And it is very different from Chatot is all that we know. Now let's move on to the next section. Next, we have the mouse couple Pokemon. Now, Makio has a post about this that explains them a bit more, but they're supposed to be a mouse couple, which is really strange and different of a concept, but nonetheless, we'll talk about that a bit later. First, let's start off with the information from Ateri about what this could be based on. Now, let's talk about the mouse. I think we are before a Pokemon, a couple inspired by 2 animals. An Algerian mouse, Raton Moruno, because of the ears, which in fact can be the one behind Palmy with the garden dormouse, and the winter white hamster, which is also possible. This first one can only be found in the peninsula and the north of Africa. The second one was a popular pet years ago in Spain at least, which is the hamster in this case. I think that most of the inspiration comes from the winter hamster since it is white and grayish, probably normal ice type. And finally, the mushroom I talked about months ago, but that one we'll talk about in a bit. So first of all, what do we know about these mice? Well, we know that they're a mouse couple, so they're together, which you can already kind of see from this image right here as well. They're supposed to be a normal type mostly, that's all we really know. They're a mouse couple and mouse family, or mice, if you want to say it that way. And basically, they're together. These are 2 Pokemon that are, bound together in a way. So I guess it's kind of like, I want to say like Plusle and Minun, but except those 2 aren't really, they don't always you don't have the two of them at the same time. They're separate at the end of the day. So I wonder if these two will be kind of kept together or not. We'll have to wait and see. But this was already hinted by, of course, Ridley and them a long time ago. So just keep that in mind. And of course, then we have the mushroom, which was the other Pokemon revealed in this image. And what do we know about the mushroom? Well, they talked about it months ago, about the importance of mushrooms in the peninsula, which is, the Iberian Peninsula, where Spain and Portugal are, which is what the Scarlet and Violet games are based on. Especially in the center north of Spain, mushrooms are one of the most popular ones, is the red pine mushroom, Niscalo, whose harvest is quite an event in the country. But also, we can't forget other mushrooms that can be in the inspiration. I've thought about the rosy earth star because of its interesting shape, a good evolution for it is possible, and about the March mushroom because of the color. And then we better don't forget about the Aminata and the Satan's Bolette, being both toxic and Aminata extremely mortal. Only if this Pokemon follows the poison type. That doesn't seem to be it though. All these mushrooms are found in the peninsula, so any of them could possibly be the basis of this. But also, he does continue and says, take this into account. Instead of a mushroom, it could also be a salt rock or a halite. I've thought about the possibility, which I think it's more original than a mushroom, but we need more information. So it could be that it's based on, specifically that, rather, just on salt rocks. Like he even says, of course, it looks like a mushroom, like a salt rock. The concept of salt mushrooms exists already. There are salt formations that look like mushrooms in the Dead Sea and other salt lakes. It was it was right there. He didn't realize it early on. But yes, it's basically based on a salt rock, like that you can find, I guess, next to water in this case. But yes, so what do you guys think about that? Let's move on to the next section. So when it comes to the Pokemon behind the camera, we really don't know much about it, but we do know that it might be a bug Pokemon. And now we know that it's going to be having somewhat of a yellowish, whitish color on it in terms of its design, but that's pretty much all we have for that one. However, the next one is more interesting. Now we know that Armarouge is supposed to get a pre-evolution. We know this already, and we know that it's supposed to evolve into either Armarouge or the other option based on the game version you have. But nonetheless, Armarouge pre-evo is right there. We saw it accidentally in the background of a trailer right next to a Torkoal, but we know that that's the pre-evolution. It's just a small version of it that looks kind of like a baby Pokemon, so that's pretty much all we know about that one. And then, of course, guys, we have the engine Pokemon as well, so keep that in mind. We have the engine Pokemon that we saw from one of the, evil team, the Team Star, battles in this case, and we know that that's also going to be a Pokemon of some sort, and here is an artwork, actually, that kind of gives you an idea of what that could look like at the end of the day, but nonetheless, really cool of an ID. And then, of course, we have Giraffor Egg, which is, or Giraffe as the last one. Well, guess what? Soul Silver has some information about the giraffe. So he says, why a giraffe in Iberia? Well, Giraffe seems just like the Team Star, and much more in Paldea, has a space theme. Its head isn't a hood, but a spacesuit helmet, which is literally what I said a few months back. I literally said that that's what it looks like. Based off of the Camelo Paradilis constellation, which is very close to Cassiopeia. Iberians were, most famously, explorers that used even constellations to navigate the seas. Also, Iberia has many historical and cultural connections with North Africa. I know giraffes are extremely aren't exactly found there, but Game Freak always takes these kinds of liberations or liberties when making different Pokemon. Lastly, there is this mythical creature in medieval folklore that was a leopard lion deer with a body with a snake head. Some say this is what Europeans may have thought giraffes were, as they had only heard stories of them. Here's more information from Lindsay Sensei, but yeah, he kind of describes them even further. Nonetheless, that seems to be what it could be based on. And also, a piece of information that we learned is that Spain, actually a Spanish man, invented the first, I think, the first spacesuit for landing on the moon. I could be wrong about this, but I think that was some of the information I saw about this. But nonetheless, that's pretty much the last one, ladies and gents. And as you may notice, a lot of Generation 2 Pokemon recently, which Giraffor Egg, Ursaring, Quillfish and stuff, a lot of these Gen 2 Pokemon have been getting a lot of love and attention recently, which makes me think that in 2024, we should expect to see Pokemon Johto remix, but we'll have to wait and see. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Bye-bye, ladies and gents.